Higgity hey hey, let's go. Looking at training time, a Python exercise, and I'm going to do it in Codewars, obviously, because I'm on Codewars.com. If you can't see that, get familiar, my friends. Okay, here is the description. This is a pretty good exercise, so I'm excited to show it to y'all. I think it's probably not a new one. I think that a lot of them are new and they're not new, so whatever. Okay. Explanation. Complete the function that accepts 2 or more parameters. First parameter is an array of numbers, really a list of numbers in Python, followed by an arbitrary number of numeric lists. Each numeric list contains 2 numbers, which are indices for the elements in the other list. And for each such list, swap the elements. And you can just disregard this part because this is about JavaScript, and it actually goes on later to talk about a JavaScript thing that has nothing to do with Python. So that explanation was like, I think it's kind of hard to get, so let's zero in here for the examples, because you're really going to see what's going on in this joint in the examples. So you're going to be given at least 2 lists. You're going to be given 2 or more lists as arguments. The first list is kind of like your base list. The second and subsequent lists are going to be, they're going to dictate operations that you're going to do to your base list. So we can call the first list, we can just kind of entitle it B for base in these examples. And interesting, in all the examples, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your base list. Let's look at this first example where we're given 2 lists, the base list and then a list of 1, 2. And what you have to do is each subsequent list after the first one is going to contain 2 integers. These integers are going to say which elements from the base list need to be swapped. So in this case, it's 1 and 2. That means elements with the indices 1 and 2 need to be swapped, which are 2 and 3. So it's going to swap and turn into 3, 2. That is how this thing works. The second and subsequent lists always going to be 2 elements, and they're going to say where you're going to swap in the base list. Looking at the next one, here we have 1, 2, so which means we swap these 2. And then we also have 3, 4 in a list, which means we also swap these 2. And you see the arrows are pretty descriptive as well. I like those arrows there. So we got to swap 3 and 2, or 2 and 3, and 4 and 5, which results in this sucker. You're catching on now? That's how it works. With this last one, we have the same base list, and we're going to have to swap 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 2 and 3. And to let you know, these swaps are they build on each other. So once you do a swap, the list is changed. Then you do the next swap, list is changed. Next swap, list is changed. If you follow what I'm saying, I'm not going to explain it further because I'm pressed for time a little bit. As per usual, I'm a busy dude, right? Busy doing nothing, monkey business. All right. So looking at the first one, swapping 1 and 2. There we go. Second one, 3 and 4. There we go. And then we're going to swap 2 and 3, which are these 2. But it comes after the first 2 swaps. You see that? So you swapped 2 and 3, or you swap 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then you kind of go back and swap 3 and 4. And that results in this one. So the second and subsequent lists they dictate that you're going to swap elements from the first list. Got it, good. If you don't, rewind, and maybe ask ChatGPT, but I gotta keep it moving, folks. Let's go. Let's get this code going. Let's do it, my man. So there isn't going to be a lot of code for this, but you do have to create your parameter list in this one. And remember, it said you're going to get a list and then another list or more than that. So the first argument is going to be your base list, and I'll just entitle it LST. The second argument, this is going to be one or more other things. Remember, you can have one or more lists for the second argument. So what am I going to end up doing here is creating what I think is called a variable argument list in Python. It's a concept where you basically create a placeholder that says this can be one or more things. That's really what it says. And in Python, you specify that by creating your parameter and then putting an asterisk before it. And for some reason, I'm going to call it. I forgot why I decided to do that, but it is going to represent the single list or multiple lists that are going to come after the first element. Or the first parameter. We know there's always going to be a base list, so we can put that there confidently. But for the second parameter, we don't know. It's going to be either one or more. When it's one or more, you've got to do that asterisk. And how you're going to navigate the asterisk is that, or this thing is that, it's going to create really a data structure where you can just loop through it. Because if you have one thing, you loop through it and get that one thing. If you got 10 things, you can loop through it and get those 10 things. So that's how it can come together. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a for each loop to loop through that. I call it a variable argument list. It may not be called that in Python, but the concept is called a variable argument list. And I think that term is maybe from C++, but the concept applies, and maybe the one person who watches this can tell me what it actually is, because I don't know, nobody really watches these, but that's a topic for another day. Anyway, so once I'm in the body here, I'm gonna do the swap because the list, or actually I will be the list. I is going to be that sublist, and it's going to tell me which elements I'm going to swap. And I'm just going to swap those elements using this handy dandy Python syntax for swapping variables. And it's really cool. Where, like, I'm just going to show it to you generally here, where in Python, if you want to swap x and y, here's how you can do it. If you have a variable x and y, you can swap them via this kind of syntax, where you have x comma y on the left, and then if you just reverse them, it swaps the data in them. So that's cool and easier than doing the classic swapping algorithm, which is those 3 steps that I'm sure you've seen before if you've programmed for a while. All right, so I'm going to swap my elements of my base list like this. What I have here on the left side, I'll space out slightly. What I have is element 0 of one of those lists containing the indices, and element 1 of one of those lists containing the indices. And what I'm going to do is I'm using those to index into my base list to get the actual values at that location, so that I can then swap them on the other side. And on the other side, I'm going to go LST, and and then I1 LST I0 because it's a swap. You see 0, 1, 1, 0. That's going to swap the elements, and I'm going to do it in a loop to where I'm going to be looping through all of these lists that contain the indices that will allow me to do the swaps if you're following that. All right, and then I got to return my list of swaps, and that's going to be it. My code ninjas, my bitch ass ninjas. Here we go. That passes, and I think this will pass. Oh, impressive. Let's go. Let's go. Like Tom Brady, LFG. Let's do it. So this is Training Time Python exercise, Codewars. We did it. We got it. We got it good. The rhyme's out right. You wish you would. Let's go. I'm out of here. This is it. Look at the code one more time. Let's go.